It always takes forever to do this part.
Link to YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, it just takes a few moments to like get it set up live, and then I have to make sure I, mute myself on the YouTube so we don't have an echo and all that. Anyway, we're here.
Yes.
Thank you,
I
Veronica, for joining me.
Thank you, Leigh, for inviting me.
Yeah,
I'm so
I'm so
excited
happy.
to be here with you today. Happy solstice.
Yes, happy winter solstice. Yeah, I didn't even realize before today what day it was. So this is perfect timing.
We're rolling.
Um,
Yeah.
Veronica and I met, we took a leadership training program together. So that's how we met. And you're
Yeah.
currently tell us where you're located.
I'm in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's cold. We might have a white Christmas, which is always good for the city. It's not often we get white Christmas, but the atmosphere here is kind of intense because the restrictions are increasing and people are changing their holiday plans, and there's anxiety around all that. So I'm I'm doing what I can in my ministry and with the work that I do to help people really ground in some new and also just practicing what we already know to like be present with each other and with ourselves and trust and see this through with some faith.
Oh, yeah, we need more of that right now. So tell me about the what kinds of restrictions are you experiencing there?
There's some travel restrictions with regards to our borders. They've been considering doing more restrictions within interprovincial, but that's not quite down yet. Quebec, though, has gone into like almost full lockdown with
Oh,
services being limited, like closed. In Toronto, they're limited to 50%. So that's restaurants, bars, hair, nail salons, personal services. There is a risk of the ICUs being overwhelmed, and the government has gone a little faster to put some restrictions in place. So hopefully we won't be in it all the way to March. I don't know.
yeah, nobody knows. There's no way to tell. There's no way to tell. So the restrictions that are in place, is that affecting your everyday life, your day to day?
Well, when this all first hit, it did affect me a great deal. And it was when we met in leadership that I had just decided to shift how I did what I love to do and what I'm good at. And that was a big journey of actually realizing that there's new things I'm good at, and there's some things that I thought I was good at that I actually wasn't that good at. So it was a big, like, whoa, shake up. And now I'm so the work that I did was community development and arts programming. I did some ministry with arts within the Christian tradition, and I also did like a lot of odd jobs because I was acting and doing arts and theater, and like I was out with people and hosting events, or like I was I was enjoying that for most of my adult life. And just before COVID, I had actually had an injury in my spine. There was a few places in my neck that were causing a real problem. It was going straight instead of having that nice curve.
Mhm.
So I slowed down before COVID, and I actually experienced like the COVID lifestyle of just going to my work, which was an essential job. I had some catering stuff and also like hardware store. And I also had worked at a clinic for a cardiologist, like all these different things. But the hardware store was the only one that was going to continue as an essential service. So yeah, essential service, grocery store, and pharmacy. I'd sort of lived that for some months before. So I was really afraid that I would actually get depressed again, because that was the environment that was like perpetuating a depression around my injury. And so I decided I would go out for coffee every day and make that essential to like be interacting with people, and also making sure I was out. And then at work, being really hopeful and positive, and like trying to actually, to be honest, I thought I was a comedian, but
I mean, I think you're pretty darn funny, honestly.
thanks.
You would crack me up all the time in our leadership training. Just like your faces, your reactions, it was hilarious.
Thank you, darling. Yeah, I'm born this way. I can't hide it. It's like all there. So I definitely really appreciated that leadership training, because I had been in like clock in, clock out, get paid for showing up on time, and just, figure it out, do something so that we don't fire you, and then get out of here and go home and do something else. And so that whole paradigm shift was necessary for me. I felt really analog, and now I'm like, oh, I got to get digital. And so so now I'm excited to be able to do ministry online. I'm excited to be able to do workshops online. I've been learning about groups and Zooms, and being able to create safe space, especially amongst people who aren't sharing a physical space. So what does that look like? And how are we going to navigate that? And yeah, so I'm ready. And now I'm deep cleaning my kitchen so that I can do videos of like food, and like just keeping it fresh and fun. And
nice.
yeah.
So the videos that you're going to be doing, where are you going to post those?
Well, right now I've been doing mostly Facebook, but I have a YouTube channel that I'm going to start.
Yay!
I've only used it for meditations for some of my clients, because I do some, it's a little bit of neuro-linguistic programming along with spirit guides. And they help me with regards to what kind of language we get to reprogram. So I do some of the sessions, and sometimes I post them online because they are for an individual client, but they're helpful for others. And then also the client likes to have access to them on the internet sometimes. So I've had some of those on there, and now I'm going to expand to new, fresh, fun content.
That's so cool. I love that. Yeah, because I think like at the end of the day, it should be fun. I mean, I think that's why we're here, to have fun and enjoy life, right?
Yes.
I mean, everyone like asks all the time, like, what is the meaning to life? I think that's it. I think we're just supposed to, be here just to experience everything, all of it, and just try to make the best of it and have fun and play.
It is a deeply spiritual practice to be joyful or even content amidst the world we live in.
Yes.
And every tradition has really good roots that can get anyone to a place of being, okay, I'm in this body, in this world, and it actually kind of feels good, or something about this feels better, or like being able to like be embodied with both and all of human experience, and sharing and bearing and witnessing together. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love that. You're speaking my language. I'm so curious, because you radiate like so much light, and you're just like, you're glowing, you're just beaming sunshine all the time, I feel like. Does that ever trigger people? Because I know it's a difficult time right now in the world, right? So do you ever run across people who you know, they meet you and you're being, you know, you're just trying to be joyful and that doesn't sit well with them. Does that ever happen to you?
Yes, of course. And it's natural. And most of the time in my like adult, I'm going to say adult is from like 25 on. So like most of the time in the last 15 or so years, I've noticed that that happens if I'm not being authentic.
Mm.
Sometimes it will happen because they have something going on and I'm not attuned to it, and my energy, it just creates an opportunity for, you know, whatever it is to learn. Either there's an option for communication,
Mhm.
but I do recognize that like I have an ability to adjust to what someone's feedback is. So if their feedback is like, whoa, sassy, lassie, like getting like really verbal about like what they see presenting, what they see from me, then I can just have fun and play with the words. But if it's more energetic, if it's just like a wall up, I'm really sensitive and I tend to sort of just leave it be and back away.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was something that was so cool too about the leadership training was feedback and you know, having that practice of giving feedback to people and also receiving feedback. And I was
Absolutely.
kind of already used to that through different different jobs that I had because that was kind of a normal practice is, you know, you get your annual review and there's feedback, right?
Yeah.
And like I think that that is a major really important skill for people to have is practicing and learning how to not only give feedback to people in the kindest way possible, but also to, I think the harder thing is to receive feedback. I mean, I don't know what's harder for you to give it or receive it, but um I think for me it was learning to receive feedback and not take it personally and know that that person is, you know, coming from a good place and it's like constructive criticism, right? And just totally like detaching from that, like not taking it to heart, not taking it personally, and being able to really view how others are seeing you and how others are experiencing you. um,
Absolutely valuable. Yeah.
yeah.
I I feel I had a leg up because I grew up in theater. So we were under a lot of different kinds of directors and feedback in different styles. And I definitely like played favorites. Like I would have favorite directors or favorite teachers. And so I would perform for them better than I would necessarily, you know? And I recognized in leadership, in the feedback thing, someone noted that I play favorites.
Wow.
and so like that shook me up a
Calling you
bit. Like it's not, yeah, like, oh, that's you noticed. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's see what I can do about this. And that's when I got deep into how I feel about everyone. Everyone matters in like no matter the differences or the perceived division or the absolute like fierce well, let's just say disagreement, like there is a spiritual battle going on and people do embody these archetypes as we're navigating through this. And it doesn't mean they're always going to be that way, but in that moment it creates this opportunity. And the depth of realizing in that moment of feedback that, oh, I play favorites, that I wasn't living that value, that I had to go deeper into understanding my own capacity for compassion and forgiveness. And And it makes me a better friend as well, because I didn't know that underlying belief system actually colored a lot of different ideas or concepts about how to be a friend, and like who to have in your inner circle and how to create boundaries. And it was all this like worth stuff. And then it's like, oh, I actually evaluate my worth every day. So that moment of feedback of you play favorites got me into, oh, I don't feel worthy just by being me.
Wow.
So like, yeah. The ripple effect is like, whoa.
That went really deep. And I think that's a core of a lot of issues is self-worth. Because I think how we behave, how we treat other people is just a reflection of how we feel about ourselves.
Yeah.
I really do believe that. So, until we can have a healthy relationship with ourselves and really value ourselves and love ourselves, we're really not going to be able to do that with anyone else. I mean, we think we are. It maybe appears that we are, but I don't think that's really possible until we have that with ourselves first. And that's something that I've been working on a lot over the last few years. That was a big one for me. Big, huge.
Yeah, it's maybe 6 or 7, 8 years ago that EFT practitioner, the emotional freedom technique, the tapping, he told me, he goes, whoa, you have like self-worth, like dinosaur monster issue. It's like, and I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I don't. I was like, absolutely, like, you've got the wrong frequency, man. But he was actually right. And it was just in the last year that moment kept flashing back. And I could see myself clearly, or clearer. And my practice, my prayer practice with God is like, I ask for those memories to be illuminated so I can connect all the dots. And that's like a metaphysical reality of when we're praying with that hope and alignment. We can, of course, we can like pray in despair and lament. But like what we were saying earlier, the highest form of a spiritual worship is to be content and to be joyful amidst the multitude of experiences going on right now. And so when I pray to God in the way of like clear my conscience, like I can feel there's something here that's bothering me about this feedback that I play favorites. So illuminate my memories, and also having a visual concept of the belief structure, like a tree. Like I love Dr. Caroline Leaf. She's an amazing neurobiologist, and she's doing really great work to help people visualize how our mind is rooting and sprouting constantly, and how toxic trees create an inflammation. And I'm like an inflammation in the mind, which then would be inflammation in the brain. I don't know, but she's on it. She's working on it. And I just love her stuff. So I have this visual of inviting God into that root system to clear away debris, to illuminate memories so I can reform and have new possible pathways forward for more love and truth. Yeah.
Wow. That was a lot to take in.
That's the kind of meditation ministry that I I do with my clients. Yeah.
That is beautiful. I love that so much. And it's amazing when we can start to actually put the puzzle pieces together. Like something that happened to you several years ago, even if you're, let's say, at a more aware state of being, at the time you might think nothing of it. And then you come back to it years later and you're like, oh, okay, that's why that happened. And then it's like starting to make more sense. Or even sometimes, like, you know, something that someone says to you at the time, you just like completely disregard it. You're like, that doesn't apply to me. And then years later, you're like, okay.
Yep. The
That
same.
person was seeing something that I couldn't see at the time, but they could see it. And what's so interesting about that is now I'm able to do that with people also. It's like a mind trip, right? Where like I can see something that they're not able to see, like a blind spot.
Yeah.
And I still have blind spots, right? Like I think we'll always have blind spots. It's like a
Yeah.
continual process. But yeah, I'm able to do that now for people. And sometimes they're open and they're like, oh, it's like being open to the feedback, right? And they're like, oh yeah, that is a blind spot actually. But then a lot of the times they're not. And
Yeah. That's okay. And, it's actually taken me surrendering to learning about Christian theology to actually be okay with that. Like, because I just felt it was connected to our collective worth, that everyone had to be okay. And there is truth in that. But to actually feel hope for that possibility of like our collective okayness, that's a lot to carry. And no one person can carry that. We get to carry it together because we all have blind spots. And corporally, like we are so intimately connected. And I love what's going on right now in consciousness. It's like more than it's how many, 7 billion people. And there's lotuses upon lotuses sparking and opening.
That's right.
And right. And some people will actively resist it. And that's okay.
Yeah, they're just not ready yet. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because everyone works on their own timeline.
Yeah. And that's it. In the yet is the hope. And that's where I love to play with eschatological ideas about what the end looks like, because so many people love to talk about it. So we might as well actually like play with it in a way that is valuable to our now. And so the yet invokes more than just a timeline, but an eternity where it is all currently present. And there's quantum abilities for us as we're learning to be able to hold that eternal space with more and more consistency and amongst more and more people. And it's really, really beautiful. And to know that, even people who aren't ready yet, or who are actively pushing against it and actively working against it, to know that there is a hope of a fulfillment, that it will be all okay and complete in that way. And it's not dependent on me personally, but I am personally a part of it. And that's helpful hope.
Yes, absolutely. And I hold a vision in my heart. I hold that light and I hold that vision in my heart of what I see as the future, and what I see as a better world where we are okay. everyone. And I just keep holding it. I just keep holding it. And I don't feel like I have to like hold it for everyone. I'm just holding it for me.
Mhm.
And I share it from time to time. And I share that vision with people. And then, maybe that will activate something inside them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah. But I really do feel that I have this beautiful vision of a world where we can actually come to unity consciousness and love consciousness. And we no longer have to exist with, I mean, not to say that there won't still be, pain, but we don't have to keep perpetuating these loops of traumas and fears and mostly illusions of things that aren't even real, and we can just come back to the truth, which is love.
Yeah.
And I've felt it and I've seen it, so I'm here to hold that within my heart, and that's not going away. So there.
Yeah. Yeah. We're walking in the remembering. I've felt it, I've seen it, not in its fullness, but its fullness is part of what I have felt and what I have seen.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. And I think it can be it can be easy to get frustrated that maybe things aren't happening quickly enough, or the people around you aren't, changing, or any of this. But then anytime that I start to get a little bit frustrated with that, I just keep on coming back to compassion and gratitude.
Absolutely.
Compassion.
Yeah. I'm practicing that consciously right now with regards to like family and romance.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
okay. My expectations have been dashed and dashed and dashed. And every once in a while, I come up with the resentment and the fear comes up. And it definitely all did around Halloween. I had it was like, oh no, I have to let my ego die again. Like, very uncomfortable.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yet again. Uh-huh.
Yeah. That expectation of like, I'm going to be 38 next year. This is not what I planned to look like. Like,
Oh, girl, I'm 38 already.
I mean, looking good. We're looking good. We're
We're
looking
looking really good.
yeah, but yeah, no, my lifestyle and who's in my inner circle, it doesn't look at all what I thought it would look like. So wow, right? Like what an amazing adventure, because there's no way for me to plan forward from here because it's all new, it's all different. I've changed. Yeah, like throw that out the window, throw that out the window. So let's see what happens.
Like there's this outdated question that's like, I just have to laugh anytime I hear this, like, what's your 5-year plan, or like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't even know where I'm going to be in 5 months. So
Exactly.
and
Yeah, I need to breathe and ground on that. It's so real though.
yeah, I mean, and it's scary, right? Because there's so much like unknown, like being comfortable with the unknown. That's like terrifying. But it's also really exciting, and you can look at it as an adventure, right? Like
Yeah.
unwrapping a gift, like what's in the box, right? It's exciting. So yeah, there's like the two sides of the coin. But that's the biggest thing that I've been learning in my life, is just to surrender, and just to like have the faith, have the trust that it's all going to be okay, and just to listen to my heart, follow my heart, and just lean into that discomfort and just enjoy the ride, you know?
Yeah. And share about it.
And share about it. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I made this YouTube channel, because I feel that some other platforms that I won't exactly name, but the outreach is very limited. Through, there's like algorithms and such that do that. So I just felt like this was going to be one of the best platforms, and I was so inspired by this other channel that does something very similar to this, where, you know, he just brings people on and they just have conversations and they just relate and they share. And I'm always having these amazing conversations with people, right? And I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, like there should be more people listening to this. This is great what we're talking about. And not like, I'm not trying to sound egotistical or anything like that. It's just,
Oh no,
you know, the
it's the
story.
impulse of consciousness. It's the impulse. And as we're clearing our conscience, right, and living in more integrity, the impulse of this consciousness is to expand and grow. And so I'm inspired by you, because I love what you're doing, and it's exactly what's necessary. So much so. And like, I'm still afraid. I tell my story, or I show up online in like bits and spurts. I'm not really grounded yet, but this is a new year. So it's time for me to be more consistent in like showing up on like video.
You know, if I'm going to be completely transparent, I'm still afraid too. Like if I get on with another person, I'm like, fine, I'm fine. I'm not alone. There's somebody else here with me. We're doing this together.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm still kind of working on doing things solo by myself. It's so strange, just like talking into the camera.
I think you are right, though. I think I'm wrong. I think I get to ensure that I'm with people doing this. I think that's the point. Because, yeah, the talking alone into the camera is good for like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. But for a long form, especially in this age of Aquarius, right? Like we want to be, I don't know. I'm doing a presentation tomorrow, and my plan is to just ramble for 45 minutes.
Hey, that sounds good to me.
I know I can do it. I don't know how effective it'll be, but we'll see. I'm just going to go for it anyway.
That's what I do all the time. I just ramble and ramble. Like I'll be leaving messages for people. I'm like, oh, I'm totally rambling now. So I should probably wrap this up.
So at least we know we're doing it. So yeah.
Whatever. I've accepted it, you know, just accept all the things. Just accept it. I mean, unless you want to change it.
Yeah. And it takes a little bit of acceptance to be able to change it.
It does. You have to first recognize that it's a thing.
Yeah.
That's step one, is awareness. And that can be quite difficult for people to get to admit that, you know, oh, they're not perfect and they're flawed.
Yeah. It's the humility is a beautiful thing, very underrated. And if you are welcome to catch me out on anything, because I'll always take feedback from you without a problem.
Oh, likewise.
Yeah. I know I have humility with you, where there's other people in the world that trigger me, and that my ego goes, you know, like, who do you think you are?
Right.
But we have a rapport we've established. So like, that's where my humility is limited. Like I'm still figuring it out. If, Joe Blow over there, who has a comment about my hair, or I'm just making up a story now, but I definitely recognize that there's people in my life where I have humility with. It's like they could criticize, or even criticize, like they could give me feedback in a critical way, in a forceful, angry way, and um, I would still value what they said without fighting back.
Mm.
So
Mm.
yeah.
Do you find that's people that you just know better, like you have a closer relationship with, or?
Or an energetic rapport. Like
Mhm.
there's something.
There's something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, energetically you can feel, I mean, not everyone can, but once you start to delve into opening your heart, um you can just feel like the heart emits energy several feet outside of your body.
Where'd you go? Me, or is it you?
It's probably me.
Oh, hi, sweetie. You're back again.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got an
Your
unstable.
heart was so powerful.
No. That's what it was. No, my internet connection is kind of unstable here. But yeah, so once you start to open your heart and chip away at the layers and the walls that you put up around it, then
Mhm.
you can actually feel and sense into other people energetically, and you can feel into their hearts, and you can know if their heart is open. Like both of our hearts are very open right now, and it feels so lovely. Like I can't even describe to people the feeling that I get. That's why I'm like always smiling. um when I'm with another person with an open heart, it's just like it's so beautiful, and I just wish everyone could experience that soon.
Yeah. And the more we do this, I think that's why I'm realizing that it it's groups, it's couplets. It's in amongst each other that we get to create this content. And I'm going to reform how I do some stuff, because we're creating an atmosphere that is shareable. So it's expanding, it's growing. So it's
Yeah.
accessible, so
Yeah.
that it is available for other people.
Yeah, and I mean there are some times where I'll get like a download. Usually it's like related to something that I'm experiencing or going through, and then I just start, like, the downloads start to come in, and then I kind of formulate my like epiphanies, and then sometimes I'll like post about it. Like for example, a few months ago I had to let go of some people in my life that were in my life for a very long time, and some of them were family and some of them were friends. But that is a very difficult thing to experience. It's heartbreaking, and like, even though for yourself, like, you're doing that out of self-love, and that you've tried your best, and you've tried your hardest, and there's still a lot of grief there, and it's such a big experience. So
Mhm.
I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm going to post about this, I'm going to write about it, I'm going to post about it. And so many people were relating to it. And that's kind of, you know that makes me think that I should be sharing more stuff like that. So I would eventually love to get to a point where I can take that and make a video on my channel. Um, but because I don't, these conversations, when I have guests on, I like them to be very organic and free flow. Like, we don't come on here in advance, like, oh, let's talk about self-worth today. No, it's just whatever we're feeling in the moment. And I love that. And that is so much fun to me. Like, I did an interview series over the summer, and that was tough because I had my list of questions. It's like very scripted, and even sent them the questions ahead of time and everything. And it was stressful. It was stressful. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, what time is it now? And we still have to get through all this stuff, and it's like hard for me to really like be present with them when I'm trying to do that other stuff. And I definitely don't want to like dominate the conversation either with like my agenda or my, you know,
Mm.
gotta share my download today. So I think I'd still like to keep that separate eventually when I muster up the courage.
Yeah. It's amazing. It is so much what we need. I feel like it's the platform matters. Like, because Marshall McLuhan, the media theorist from like 60 years ago, he said the medium is the message. So the platform really does matter when we're sharing the deep soul transformation process. The platform matters. So yeah, I've been using the F book.
She just said the F bomb. Oh,
I've been using that for simply because I'm lazy. Because I over the last year, I've slowly getting to know TikTok. I just posted my first TikTok video.
super cute.
Mhm, thank you. And then Instagram, I just can't. I'm not jiving with.
Me neither. I know
And
everybody, so many people say it's like such a great platform, but I don't know, man. It's not. I think it's good for artists, photographers, like people they're working a lot off of images.
yeah,
But I don't know. I just really don't want to see like thousands of photos of your day-to-day life and like what you're eating and your selfies and I
and
don't
getting
know.
sold. Like there's a lot of like
Nah.
people selling on their lifestyle. Like yeah, which I try not to do. I have lifestyle products for sale for people, but I'm not selling my lifestyle. Like you do you.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe that's, I'll admit I'm being a little judgmental on Instagram, but I don't know. That's like so far that's kind of what I've seen. Maybe there's a different side of it that I haven't seen yet. I don't really know, but it seems like a lot of work
Yeah.
also.
Yeah. Like there's all these trainings that I need to take. Oh, no. I'm looking at, okay, what kind of messaging app has options to be able to link Calendly, Zoom, YouTube, messaging app. People use Discord, but I don't like the environment of Discord. It's very
Just the
masculine.
word itself is kind of
Not that masculine is bad, it's just not for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. WhatsApp?
WhatsApp, Telegram. I'm liking Telegram. So yeah, I guess the medium is part of the message. So to be adaptable and looking for that with the right energy, the right rapport, it's definitely not.
Not the F word.
No, not the F word.
Well, yeah, it's I realized earlier this year, because I think I have 1,300 or something like that friends on there, and then because of the algorithm, I think only about 20 people actually see your stuff. Um, maybe on a good day, and then I'm like, okay, so why would they do that? What what's the point? What's the point of that? And some people will say, oh, well, they're just trying to curate your experience. So like, the 20 people you interact with the most, that's who you're gonna see. But I'm like, no, that doesn't really make sense because if I have all these friends, like I want to see all of it. So I think there's definitely a hidden motive behind that feels really yucky.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. Mm-mm.
Mm. Me neither. Me neither.
But but I
Yeah.
do, but I do connect with a lot of people on there and stay in touch with people that way. So I don't think I'll get rid of it completely, but
I feel about it kind of like I felt like a landline. I have this
Like
Right now, it's still
like,
getting used
I
every
don't
day.
use it up completely. I might need it for something, you know. What if all the cell phone towers go out or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I'm just gonna hang on to it just in case. Use it. I am using it a lot more this year because I've done this like digital shift.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so I'm in that environment. And my presentation tomorrow is on Facebook.
Yes, tell us about that. Let's hear all about it.
I'm super excited. So when I began my awakening journey, I was in I was into metaphysics and meditation and the yoga and Sanskrit, learning Hindu, uh, like actual like process of enlightenment. Like I was going deep as a 16, 17-year-old.
Wow.
And then I also started to study with some different Buddhist teachers. And was I was having a great time. It was very, very, very helpful. And it helped me be in the world. And especially as an actor, it helped with my whole facility of my kinesthetic awareness and the ability to create atmosphere through breath.
Mhm.
So it was amazing. And that was all from my first awakening, which was, oh, there's more than just matter, and there's spirits that I can talk to, and their ancestors, and there's this that I cannot see that actually has a lot of effect on me. And so that led to a wonderful experience, very creative, very connected. But I wasn't in a community that sustained for a long time. So I was hopping around and then moving around and, lots of changes. And I realized that I was needing to root with other people. And so that was the second opening. And when I realized that, that's when I started to also be invited by the Christ consciousness into what it means to be humble and truthful and loving with other people. So I was really resisting the Christian tradition, but I was open to praying and learning about repentance and forgiveness, and also getting pretty esoteric with it. And because of my personality, which is kind of extreme, I got pretty extreme in the esoteric nature of it. And I had a few friends in the occult, and there was some really crazy stuff that went down. And I from that experience, I have a passion for helping people heal after traumatic religious experiences, whether they be esoteric and metaphysical, or whether they be historical abuse that is going on still, but absolutely throughout history, we have a lot of communities that have suffered under religious oppression and religious abuses. So because I felt that call, I'm now at seminary school. So I started in September.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is an amazing time to actually be at seminary school because no one knows what the fuck is going on.
Great.
So it's huge, like so much like need, like grounding of faith, and everything is up to be deconstructed, especially in the light of the colonial impact. Here in Canada, that's been a really important issue. And I've been working with different communities in grassroots level for Truth and Reconciliation Commission for almost 10 years. And now I'm improving my education so that I can serve on larger projects, and also bringing this like metaphysical component to Christian community that doesn't get extreme and become destructive and distortive, but is actually really grounded. And there's a lot going on too with women interpreters of the Bible and women leadership, as well as women who are pushing the edges of what has been the dominant masculine theological perspective within the Christian community. And it's really exciting place to be. And I feel a sense of like, I'm so not ready for what I want to do, but I'm in the atmosphere of becoming ready for the big vision.
Yeah, baby steps. Yeah. But I mean, how magical and wonderful that you're being guided there, right?
Yeah.
Because I know, like, yeah, for a long time, like I had no idea, and most people probably have no idea. So how great is that?
So this presentation tomorrow is just me sharing some of the researchers I found, some communities to pray for, some really inspiring women, as well as what I'm chewing on theologically with regards to pronouns for God, and really reclaiming and repatriating sexuality and gender within the wholeness of and language. Because like I can say I'm a man. It's sort of true. Like in one area of our experience, it's true. I am of man, right? I'm man, I'm a human. So like, it's funny to play with the language of gender. And some people get offended when I do this with God, but I have some theological comrades with me who really believe in it as well. And I'm also digging into scripture to be able to root it into the word for people who are really struggling right now with what's going on with this, the conversation around pronouns, where people get really agitated, right? Yeah. So,
like,
so I'm hopeful to bring.
What is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So if we, considering from a more conservative perspective, someone who does know God as having all feminine and masculine qualities, if we just bring that conversation right up to there, it becomes a little bit easier for them to be willing to see other people within the spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think each and every one of us has both, we have the masculine and feminine nature within us, just, maybe different balances, different levels.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but I think maybe in the future we won't really even like need any of that stuff, as far as like labeling people as this or that, as you just are.
Yeah, I believe.
I hope so anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. I saw this really interesting movie the other night, The Giver. Have you seen that?
Is that based on the book? Which I'm not sure. Tell me more. Tell me more.
But what they did, it was kind of like this sci-fi movie where it was this like future society that had like done away with a lot of things and made a lot of changes, and everyone was basically the same. And they also did away with color, so like everything was in black and white.
It's one of my favorite books from when I was like 12,
so
13.
You read the book. Yeah, okay. So I watched that movie the other night. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say too much about it because like I don't want to give it away, but yeah, that was really interesting.
You enjoyed it. I might catch it. I might look at it. Yeah, that was one of the most impactful books of my youth.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
I felt like
Okay.
That's one, totally. That's one I took with me around, like when you carry a book with you
Yeah.
around,
You
and I
can't
would quote it for my friends.
you can't make this stuff up. Like what? Okay.
I love it. Yeah. So I'm totally going to watch that movie tonight, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should. Wow.
In the vision, to be in the atmosphere of the vision, and like trusting that our creator, that she can deliver the atmosphere of the vision anytime we ask for it, especially if we feel like really out of it. Anytime we ask, she can deliver the atmosphere of the vision. But I also recognize like my vision of what that is, that place where our identity is in the wholeness, our identity is in fullness with each other and not in division and competition. My vision of that is very limited. So I can also ask her to increase my vision, increase my capacity to see that here and now as well.
Mm.
And yeah.
And I think too, the more people that get online with that vision, the stronger it will become, or the further into it we'll be able to see. It's kind of just what I sense.
Yeah.
And I've been meeting more and more people who share it. It's so fun for me to, share this vision with people. And then sometimes you'll get people that'll be like, oh my gosh, me too, it's the same, it's all coming from the same place, right? We're all picking it up from the same place. But my vision, what I would love is to build an intentional community. And I'm seeing like all these different intentional communities popping up all over the world, where people of similar frequencies can come and live together and combine their resources and live in this Ubuntu, which is,
Yeah.
everybody offers, their own gifts, what they're good at. And it takes a village. We don't have to do this alone. Elderly people would not be dying alone. If you're a single parent and you're sick, other people can, help you. It just makes so much more sense to me to live like that.
Yeah.
Kind of off grid, growing your own food. And there would also be a healing center where
Yeah.
all these different kinds of modalities could be taught and shared, because I think that's the one thing that the world needs more than anything right now is healing and access to healing. So
Bingo. You gave me chills. That's where, because I have a lot of friends who are practitioners, and they have different modalities, and they are able to, gift or subsidize sometimes. But that access point, without access, it creates a whole shadow of shame, which makes it even harder. Yeah. So anyone who's listening, think about more access to whatever you've got going. Access. Yeah.
well, and I'm just gonna add in there too, like I'm gonna start gifting sessions to people, actually, coaching and integration sessions. So even if you're watching this later, reach out to me. I would love to gift a session, because that's something I'm really passionate about. Because I know what it's like. I've been on both ends. I've been on the end where I've been steadily employed and I have health insurance and I can just go to the therapist, or but even with that, there were some limitations and I couldn't get the alternative therapies that I really wanted. But
Mm,
still very fortunate, to be able to go to therapy, for example. And then, I've been on the other side where, working for myself now and, not having health insurance. Yeah, so there's a big access problem. And if you have access, you should be very grateful, because you're very fortunate, because there's a lot of people that don't have it that really, really need it.
yeah. And we get to share it. We get to share
Yeah,
it.
you get to
I
share.
do I do all of my coaching by donation. So
Mm.
people are able to Yeah, accommodate their own budget.
And if people want to do some coaching work with you, what's the best way for them to reach out and get in contact?
And the best way is my email and
Okay.
info@veronicanow.com.
We'll post that in
Mm-hmm.
the description.
Yeah, it'd
So
be good.
just shoot you an email.
Yes, absolutely. And I do specialize in sleep state healing and integration of dream and plant medicine, and also reconciliation. And I'm starting a new series. I haven't posted anything yet, but it's going to be about womb healing. And I have a lot of good friends who do good work with that. So I just want to share what they're doing. So that'll be some cool stuff coming through too. So
man, sounds like you got a lot coming up. I'm so excited to see all this stuff. I can't wait to see your stuff on your YouTube channel.
yeah. Oh, me too. I can't wait to see it.
Cooking your recipes and all that. Oh yeah.
I know. I have this fun kitchen. I can't not, like, I gotta, make the most of it.
Yeah.
What I've got. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to that so much. And thank you so much for being on the channel. It was so fun to have you here today.
So good. I love you. This beautiful blessing day. I love you so much.
I love you too. I love you too. Yeah. And I hope that everyone that was watching today, that you guys feel the love. I hope you guys feel the love.
Yeah, we're sharing.